my goodness, you guys, can you even believe what we just witnessed? The June 10 episode left us on one of the most terrifying, heart-pounding cliffhangers in daytime television history. Martin Richardson was right in the middle of his highly anticipated political fundraiser speech. The room was packed with the absolute elite of Fairmont Crest and Genoa City. And then, bam! The lights flicker, the massive crystal chandelier swings violently, and a catastrophic tornado tears straight through the country club. I was literally on the edge of my seat, screaming at my television. This isn't just a random storm. This is a landscape-altering disaster for Beyond the Gates. We haven't seen devastation of this magnitude since the horrific plane crash that tragically took Andre and Ted's parents years ago. The stakes are incredibly high, and lives are literally hanging by a thread. But here's the kicker. Amidst all this shattering glass, the howling wind, and the flying debris, the real, irreparable destruction is actually happening in the relationships. Let's be real for a second and talk about Catherine "Cat" Richardson and Eva Thomas. If there's one thing we know for absolute certainty in this show, it is that these two women absolutely cannot stand each other. They are like oil and water. Just moments before the storm hit, Cat was obnoxiously intervening with a reporter who was talking to Eva, and Eva was visibly annoyed, insisting she could handle herself. The tension between them has been brewing for weeks, forming a classic soap opera rivalry filled with petty snipes, glaring looks, and territorial behavior. But when the tornado strikes, all of that superficial animosity gets instantly blown away by the sheer primal force of survival. Spoilers for Thursday, June 11 reveal that Kat and Eva are going to spring into action together to help those in need. I have to say, I am absolutely loving this unexpected development. It is so profoundly poetic and raw. You have these two fiercely independent, stubborn women who usually wouldn't spit on each other if they were on fire, suddenly working hand in hand in a terrifying life or death emergency. They're pushing aside their massive egos to pull people from the rubble, assess injuries, and save lives. This is the exact kind of character growth that makes daytime dramas so incredibly compelling. Will this traumatic bonding experience turn them into lifelong best friends? I highly doubt it. Knowing Kat's overbearing protective nature and Eva's fierce independence, they will probably go right back to glaring at each other across the room by next week. But for this one shining moment in the dark, amidst the chaos, they are absolute heroes. And frankly, they might be the only ones acting honorably right now, because what is happening elsewhere in the building is just pure, unadulterated scandal. Okay, we desperately need to talk about the elevator. My jaw is still completely on the floor. During the utter chaos of the June 10 episode, Danny Dupree and her ex-husband Bill Hamilton stepped into an elevator just as the power grid catastrophically failed. The car violently jolted, and Danny went flying directly across the small space and crashed into Bill's arms. Talk about the ultimate forced proximity trope. Now, any normal people trapped in a pitch-black suspended elevator during a catastrophic natural disaster would be panicking, searching frantically for an emergency hatch, or praying for rescue. But this is beyond the gates, darling. Instead of looking for a logical way out, the intense claustrophobia of the situation and the potent, intoxicating mix of fear and adrenaline is going to push these two over the absolute edge. Spoilers for June 11 explicitly confirm that Danny and Bill are going to heat up that elevator in a major, undeniable way. The crossover preview shows them wildly making out in the pitch black. Are you kidding me? I am furiously screaming at my screen right now. This is the ultimate heartbreaking betrayal, and I am so incredibly disappointed in Danny. Let's unpack the deep psychology here for a moment. When people genuinely believe they are going to die, their primal instincts completely take over. All of the deeply unresolved feelings, the decades of shared history, the toxic but completely undeniable chemistry between Bill and Danny, it all comes rushing violently back to the surface. But we have to ask ourselves, is this true love, or is it just the sheer terror of the moment manifesting as physical desire? I firmly believe this is a trauma response mixed with a highly dangerous dose of nostalgia. But let's look at the devastating collateral damage of this steamy elevator hookup. Poor, sweet Andre Richardson. I am actively hurting for this man. Andre is the kindest, most supportive husband on daytime television. Just hours before this disastrous party, Andre confessed his deepest, darkest fears to his stepdaughter, Chelsea. He is absolutely terrified of losing Danny, either to the BRCA gene she tested positive for, or to the lingering ghost of Bill Hamilton. And what did he do to show his devotion? He gave Danny a beautifully woven, unbreakable ring for her pinky finger to symbolize their upcoming trip to Japan and their unbreakable marital bond. And now Donnie is swapping spit with her ex-husband in the dark while literally wearing that very ring. It makes me physically sick to my stomach. And let's not forget poor Naomi Hawthorne. Naomi explicitly warned her father, Bill, to stay far away from Danny because she knew he was recatching feelings. Naomi's absolute worst nightmare is coming true right before our very eyes, and she doesn't even know it yet. And what about Bill? Let's not forget the massive looming plot twist that Bill is currently being actively poisoned by his current wife, Haley. Bill's physical health is rapidly deteriorating due to whatever toxic serum Haley is secretly slipping into his system. Yet, somehow, miraculously, the adrenaline of the tornado and the extreme physical proximity to his beautiful ex-wife has given him the sudden strength to engage in a passionate, breathless makeout session. It is the ultimate tragic soap opera irony. Bill is desperately seeking comfort in the familiar arms of his past, completely unaware that his present wife is literally killing him from the inside out. If Danny and Bill are found in the aftermath of this storm with that undeniable flushed afterglow, the fallout is going to be truly apocalyptic. Andre will be deeply, irreparably devastated. But will Haley care? Absolutely not. Speaking of the devil herself, let's sharply pivot to Haley Hamilton, because her storyline is officially crossing over into legendary Hall of Fame grifter territory. While Bill is locking lips with Danny in a suspended metal box, Haley is busy securing her next far more lucrative meal ticket. During Wednesday's episode, we saw the Young and the Restless legacy character Kyle Abbott offer Haley a glass of champagne. And what did our resident Black Widow do? She flirtatiously accepted the drink and swiftly, without a single ounce of hesitation, slipped her wedding ring right off her finger. I mean, the absolute unmitigated audacity of this woman. She didn't even blink. She took one look at that massive Abbott wealth, the perfectly tailored designer suit, the undeniable Genoa City charm, and instantly decided that Bill Hamilton was yesterday's news. Now, let's deeply analyze Kyle Abbott for a second. If you watch Y&R, you know that Kyle has a massive, glaring, almost comical blind spot when it comes to beautiful, manipulative women. He absolutely loves a gold-digging schemer. It is practically his core love language. He falls for the damsel in distress act every single time, without fail. And Haley? Haley can sniff out a rich, egotistical, easily manipulated man from a mile away. They are a match made in soap opera heaven or hell, depending on how you look at the impending destruction. Spoilers for June 11 indicate that as the tornado viciously rips through the country club, Kyle is going to spring into heroic action and save Haley's life. Can you picture the cinematic drama of it all? The ceiling debris is violently falling, the wind is howling like a freight train, and dashing, wealthy Kyle Abbott aggressively pulls Haley to safety into a dark, secluded corner of the country club to take cover. The adrenaline is pumping through their veins, the fear of death is palpable in the air, and Haley is playing the terrified, vulnerable victim to absolute Oscar-worthy perfection. The crossover preview explicitly shows Haley and Kyle locking lips while the massive storm rages around them. It is absolutely, unequivocally wild. Haley and Bill are literally cheating on each other at the exact same time in the exact same collapsing building during a catastrophic natural disaster. You simply cannot write better, more deliciously messy television than this. Here is my grand overarching theory for how this massive crossover is going to permanently impact the future of both shows. Haley knows the clock is rapidly ticking on her current scam. Joey Armstrong is on to her deadly game. Tomas Navarro is highly suspicious of her movements. The poison is taking effect on Bill, but maybe not fast enough for her liking. What if this devastating tornado is Haley's ultimate golden ticket out of Fairmont Crest? I strongly predict that Haley is going to use this intense, life-saving, adrenaline-fueled moment with Kyle to sink her perfectly manicured claws into him permanently. She might just leave Bill for dead, either banking on the poison finishing the job or the storm crushing him, and happily hop on the private Abbott corporate jet back to Genoa City. Imagine the sheer chaos of Haley Hamilton wreaking absolute havoc at Jabot Cosmetics. It would be the ultimate crossover storyline, seamlessly blending the treacherous, deadly world of BTG with the high-stakes corporate ruthlessness of Y&R. Let's take a brief moment to think about the psychological toll on the other characters trapped in this nightmare. Think about Naomi Hawthorne. Just before the tornado hit, Naomi was in the bridal suite, comforting a deeply grieving Ashley Morgan, who had just been bullied to tears by the ever-classless Anastasia Bellaclaire. Naomi is at this party completely without her husband Jacob because he went rogue to interrogate Dr. Leah Whitmore. So, while Naomi is trapped in a collapsing building, terrified for her life, her husband is off obsessively chasing the impaler, and her parents are making out in an elevator. The psychological toll on Naomi when the dust finally settles is going to be massive. She is the emotional glue holding so many people together, but who is holding her when the walls come crashing down? And let's not forget the absolute audacity of Joey Armstrong and Vanessa McBride in all of this. They rudely crashed this exclusive political fundraiser, causing a massive scene as Vernon, Ted, and Nicole desperately tried to hide them from the press. Vanessa stubbornly refused to leave or even hide in the lobby. Well, I bet she is deeply regretting that arrogant decision right about now. Being trapped in a collapsing country club with the town's elite who actively despise them is the ultimate poetic karma. Will Joey use his ruthless underworld survival skills to get them out safely, or will they find themselves relying on the very people they alienated? The shifting power dynamics in this desperate survival situation are going to be endlessly fascinating to watch unfold. Finally, amidst all this chaos, romance, and brutal betrayal, there is one man who remains utterly, completely untouchable. The mustache himself, the legendary Victor Newman. Spoilers officially confirm that Victor is completely safe. He showed up on the Y&R Wednesday, June 10 episode back in Genoa City, letting his worried loved ones know he made it out of the disaster zone completely unscathed. Of course he did. A mere F5 tornado isn't nearly enough to take down Victor Newman. He probably looked the tornado dead in the eye, told it, "You got that?" and casually stepped onto his private helicopter while the club fell apart behind him. It is a massive relief to know the legacy character is safe, but it leaves us agonizing over the fate of everyone else left behind in the rubble. The revelations about Friday the 12th suggest that Ted is facing multiple crises, seemingly having to bandage someone who's injured. And Joey has managed to get close to a VIP guest while he reluctantly attends the party as Vanessa's friend. And finally, Anita, did she witness Danny and Bill's moment during Vernon's escape from the storm and give a warning? As we look ahead to the rest of the week, the aftermath of this historic storm is going to change the landscape of Beyond the Gates forever. The physical damage to Fairmont Crest will be immense, costing millions to rebuild, but the emotional damage will be truly catastrophic. How will Danny ever look Andre in the eye after what she did in that elevator? Will Bill finally realize that Haley has already moved on to a billionaire Abbott heir? And will Kat and Eva's newfound life-saving alliance survive the harsh light of day? I am on the absolute edge of my seat, and I know you are too. This crossover event is delivering everything it promised and so much more. The stakes have never been higher, the betrayals have never been deeper, and the drama is just getting started. Let me know your craziest theories in the comments below.